Something happened in the 70s, thanks to the film industry. The concept of heroic battles between two huge armies became dead. Instead, the battle between huge army and one man was born. But who are the most destructive characters? Who deserve to be awarded the one-man army title? Who are the protagonists putting away their enemies with classical methods? And most importantly, why the fuck do their antagonists deserve to die? Let's check it out. Beatrix Kiddo, the bride, was attacked on her wedding day. The attackers killed everyone and the pregnant bride was even shot in the head, but miraculously she survived. After 4 years of coma, she wakes up but finds her child nowhere. It turns out she was also constantly harassed by the nurse during her coma. Because of the attackers, Beatrix not only did lose her husband, but her child was also taken away from her. So she swears vengeance and does her best to kill everyone who was involved in the attack. The Fruit Ninja way. Colonel John Beatrix has retired and lives with his daughter away from the noisy world. One day his former boss, General Kirby, visits and warns him the members of his former team have been successively murdered. But then, suddenly armed men attack Beatrix's home and kidnap her daughter. Beatrix only gets his daughter back if he completes the mission to kill the governor of the distant Velverd. He also gets transported to the airplane that flies to the destination, but Beatrix escapes and uses a variety of tools as weapons like iron pipes, iPhone 11 to take revenge on his daughter's kidnappers. Tequila Yuen is a tough cop, but after work, rather a heavy drinker champion. He lives in Hong Kong, where the police tries to eliminate the local gun smuggling network, but Tequila's partner is shot dead during a mission. Then the protagonist seeks revenge and gradually reveals what is really going on behind the scenes. At the end, he starts the day of reckoning. The former soldier lives a peaceful life in northern Thailand. One day, American missionaries appeared to bring medical supplies to the refugees in the neighboring country Burma, where civil war has been going on for years. The missionaries asked Rambo to transport them to their destination across the river. John finally accepts the task and gets his Christian buddies to the desired location. Days later, the missionaries get kidnapped. What a surprise. Then, in the middle of the rain, Father Marsh teleports to John Rambo's place and asks for help. John got the task to make one more turn and this time bring some mercenaries to the required destination who will then free the captives. However, it becomes quickly obvious that the wannabe super soldiers need the veteran fighter's assistance, and not only because of his facelift advices, but his deadly combat experience. The Hong Kong police investigates the money laundering activities of the local mafia. The main suspect is the shipyard owner Long Shi, who is in jail, but the police promises him to be released if he helps to investigate the case using his former underworld connections. In the meantime, the shipyard owner becomes entrapped by a rival gang. After being framed for murder, Lung flees to the United States. Of course, this will not save him because the mafia has ships as well. Fortunately, his longtime acquaintance Ken Lee rescues him and helps Lung Shi to clarify his name and take back his empire. The US Special Forces try to liberate their comrades from an Iraqi prison camp, but the mission goes wrong and they also became prisoners. At this time, at the proposal of Colonel Walters, Tupper Harley, a retired war hero, is being sought to assist in the new rescue mission. Tupper doesn't want to give up the Buddhist life, but when the next rescue mission also fails, he eventually accepts the offer and goes after the evil Iraqis. The movie takes place in the post-World War III city, Libya, where the dictatorship blamed human emotions for the outbreak of the war, thus destroying everything which can evoke emotions, such as art, music, literature. The citizens of Libya are forced to take their daily prosium portion, which suppresses their emotions. Those who don't act as expected, labeled as sense offenders, and hunted down. John Preston, a high-ranking priest, is faithful to this new world order. One day unintentionally loses his dose of prosium, can't make up a new portion in time, and his suppressed feelings begin to return, and he starts to see the real face of the regime. He begins to fight off the oppression, during which, thank God, there are no long boss fights. A few days after the events of the first episode, John Wick manages to retake his car and make peace with the evil Russians. At least for a couple of hours, there is finally peace. Then suddenly the Dago Santino shows up and presents the Blood Oath medallion, thus demands service from John to kill Santino's own sister. John rejects the mission, but Santino destroys his house. John is being reminded that he cannot violate the rules of the underworld, so he has to fulfill the Blood Oath. The mission is fulfilled ultimately, but Santino decides to avenge his sister's death and kill John. Of course, John won't let it just happen. The protagonist of the film is Smith, who can't even finish to eat his carrots as he witnesses a pregnant mother being chased by armed men. Smith becomes part of the pursuit and eventually saves the newborn baby. However, it turns out not only the mother, but also the little child were targets of the assassins, so Smith hides the baby at the hustler Donna. The grown-ups have their Netflix and chill scene when they are suddenly being attacked by the criminals. There is no other choice for Smith than fighting. Yatsudo, the head of the Yagyu clan, wants to make revenge and murdered Ito and his son Daigoro. But as the attacks continue to fail, Yatsudo turns to black magic to summon new elite soldiers. These soldiers have a superpower. They can dig themselves through the ground. Basically, they are moles. Eventually, Ito and his son can't escape. They are being surrounded in the mountains by the super mole army, and the colossal battle begins. Well guys, that's it for today, see you next time.